Well, good morning. Thank you so much for inviting me here today. It's a pleasure to speak to so many familiar faces and many new ones from across the business sector. Tourism is the fastest growing industry in the world right now. In 2015, there were about 1 billion people crossing the globe, and by 2030, that number will double. It's also one of British Columbia's most important industries. It represents over 15 billion in annual revenues and almost 19,000 jobs for all of us right across the province. If you think about what you saw on the streets of Vancouver this summer, and perhaps you were over in Victoria and other parts of our province, you know that tourism in our province right now is absolutely booming. We've welcomed over 3.2 million visitors to British Columbia, and that's a 12.5% increase over this time last year. And that's just to the end of July. So we still have some amazing numbers to follow to take us through August and September. In BC, in terms of GDP, tourism is behind only the construction and finance industry, which I think usually surprises people. We're larger than mining, forestry, and oil and gas. And right now, all of our key markets are performing exceptionally well. The US is up 10.7%, Asia's up 12.7%, Europe up 10.9%, and Mexico up a whopping 33.8%. Those are numbers any industry would love to be reporting. And really, the industry shows no sign of slowing down. Our tourism network right across the country and around the world is telling us that their bookings are very, very strong, looking at 2017 as well. As a tourism destination, Vancouver has been recognized as the top city in Canada by major travel publishers such as Travel and Leisure magazine, TripAdvisor, and many, many others. It's the right place to set up a tourism headquarters. As the gateway to the Pacific, Vancouver connects 3 continents: South America, North America, and Asia. The city offers exceptional transportation infrastructure in all modes: air, water, road, rail, and transit locally. For example, YVR was named Best Airport in North America for an unprecedented 7 consecutive years by Skytrax World Airport Awards. New airlines and new flights are being added at a startling pace, and we're on track to actually fulfill their goal of being the gateway to the Americas. Transportation access and connectivity is not just important for tourists, it's really important for businesses that are considering what is the right location for a headquarters. And strong infrastructure is necessary to support business development. Our tourism sector continues to benefit from the legacy of the 2010 Games, which showcased our city to an audience of over 3 billion people. But if you think about it, we now have a world-leading conference center that can attract some of the major conventions on the planet. In Vancouver, there's also tremendous advantages to co-locating with other tourism entities that have their head offices here. So if you think about ourselves, Destination BC, Destination Canada, the only Crown corporation to be located on the West Coast, is in Vancouver. Go2HR, the Tourism Industry Association of BC, and of course, Tourism Vancouver and the many other DMOs that we work with in this region. They're all based here, and they make a strong ecosystem for tourism and any headquarters that would like to come. But it's more than that. BC's thriving economy is attracting international interest in so many ways, more than real estate. We have an environment of low business taxes, economic incentives, streamlined regulations, a very business-supportive government, and political stability, all of which are important today. And all of those are bringing industries and people to this city from all over the globe. So if you think about our modern communications infrastructure, the good transit we have, the world-class universities that we offer, a strong healthcare system, and a very high quality of life, All of these enable Vancouver to compete on a world stage. And finally, we have the talent here in BC and Vancouver to help tourism businesses really flourish. We have a very highly educated and multilingual workforce. We have a booming high-tech and creative sector in Vancouver. And that's important because it builds a really strong labor pool of the hot skills that almost any headquarters is looking for. Skills in digital marketing, digital capabilities, data analytics, and sales. Vancouver's regularly named one of the best cities in the world to visit. We all know that from living here. But it's also recognized as one of the best places to work and live when compared with other international cities. We were chosen as the best place to live in North America by Mercer's 2016 Quality of Living Survey, and number 5 in the world. And actually, that's a bit lower than we're usually ranked. We're usually 2 or 3, so I don't know what happened this year, but we'll be back. And quality of life is such an important determinant in attracting people to live and work in a city, as we all know. A vibrant tourism and business economy, excellent access, strong infrastructure, exceptional talent, and a high quality of life. All of these factors make Vancouver attractive for tourists and for tourism businesses. So thank you for inviting me here today to talk a bit about tourism. And I look forward to hearing what our panelists have to say with Ty's guidance. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ty Speer, the President and Chief Executive of Tourism Vancouver, and thanks, Marsha, for kicking things off, and Kirk for hosting us. It's a pleasure to be here. We've had the opportunity, I think, to converse with the team at HQ Vancouver now over many, many months, and as we look at the various lines of business where Tourism Vancouver is involved in trying to bring people into Vancouver to support our tourism economy, we know the importance of what business means to that. So while many times we often talk about tourists and we think about those people that are enjoying the cruise ships in the summer and flying in and going on the Rocky Mountaineer, which I'm sure we'll hear about and other things, the business side of tourism is critical both to what happens here in the city and, of course, for us all to grow the broad base and the foundation of the corporate community here. As Marsha mentioned, we're a thriving business destination, and, of course, tourism is helping to drive that. We are growing locally to be over a $5 billion industry by the end of 2018 for Vancouver alone, and that represents about 65,000 jobs. So lots of people connected to this industry at all levels of career growth, from entry level right through to senior executives managing big businesses and, of course, big brands. But what really I find, and I've been here about 2.5 years, what I find is really remarkable about both Vancouver and our industry is really an extraordinary sense of community. Businesses that are very open, they're very engaged, they're very supportive of working with each other, and they're very partnership driven. And I think a lot of that really stems from the sense of Vancouver's not the biggest city out there. We understand that there's a slightly larger city somewhere in the east from a Canadian point of view. And it really takes a little bit more collaboration and a little bit more working together to make this industry hum. And I think if I look at the various cities I've had the pleasure of working in, I think Vancouver gets that better than any city I've had the opportunity to do business in. It is a strong, strong community. And it's a community that works from the big business and big brand level right through to small to medium industries, which really are the backbone of tourism in this city. And collaboration is vital to the success right up and down that value chain. We're strong corporate critical mass, strong SMEs with great entrepreneurial spirit, driving brand new businesses into the tourism industry and bringing big brands to life here in Vancouver. And to me, it's a really, really strong ecosystem. It's just a pleasure to be involved with, and I know many of you in this room are here as well. So if I look at it, I think part of that feels to me like Vancouver's a really, really terrific intersection. It's an Asia-Pacific gateway with lots of terrific transport, as Marsha mentioned. It's connection between small to medium enterprise, university, corporate, people that are trying to build something from the ground up in related industries around tourism. So, I look at it as a great melting pot, a great intersection. And I did a little straw poll at our table just a minute ago. We had 7 people sitting at the table when I asked the question, and there were only 2 locals. So in addition to two people from Vancouver, we had somebody from Phoenix. I was born in Atlanta. Somebody from Singapore, somebody from Birmingham, England, and somebody from that city out east that I mentioned earlier. So when I think then about this room and all of you here today, I guess I would finish with a question. If Vancouver is a city of connections, then as you listen to the comments that our speakers will share in a moment, think about the connections that might come out of this room. What might happen when we're done here today? What might happen when you go back into your offices and your environments and those that you work with? Where is there an opportunity for connection? Where can that connection take us? Where can that connection introduce Vancouver to a business that might want to be here and might want to contribute to the vibrant growth not only of our tourism industry, but the city at large? So there's my challenge for everybody to think about as we get into the rest of the brief going forward. With that, let me move on to introduce our first speaker from JTB, the President and CEO of JTB International in Canada, Mr. Tosh Tatezawa. Tosh?